Hi, people. This is DJ.
This is Ish.
And this is
Season
3
3
of Pero Let Me Tell You.
Your hair, like I was noticing yesterday in a post. I think the post that you put out yesterday, this morning about the voting thing.
Sure. Yeah.
I was like, okay, yeah, voting is important. Blah blah blah. Okay, I get it. But the hair, like her hair looks phenomenal. Y hoy está igual. Like, I feel honored.
Thank you. Oh, thank you so much. Actually, Ish, because of you and the kids over at Pero Let Me Tell You, I went yesterday and got my hair done for the first time since since my last appointment was in February.
Oh, damn.
Of 2019. No, 2020. And and I was like, I need to go get my hair did because I'm trying to fix my camera here. And I need to go get my hair did because I'm having a conversation with a lot of important people today because we're coming down to the wire on election day. And I'm like, but more importantly, I have to look really cute for Ish.
Well, listeners, for those of you who don't know that voice, my first question is, what the hell's wrong with you? Because that is, I mean, we've said it before here on the show. If Miami as a city collectively had a voice, it would be Lucy Lopez. This is what Miami would sound like. So
I know Billy Corben doesn't want to acknowledge that.
Whatever with him. He's a documentarian. He's award-winning. Whatever.
But thank you, Ish. Thank you.
I
love him. I love that guy. I love how, like, I love all that. Damn, give me more. I literally, I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt, but
go.
I literally, like, I'll look at his tweets and I get mad, I get happy, I get sad, I get mad again. We have a very, like, sweet, like, friend, like, we have a friendship going on. But yeah, he's my, like, seriously, there's the Kardashians and then there's Billy Corben.
Well, I actually wanted to talk about Billy Corben, but before we get to that, I just wanted to introduce her. I know people know you by now who've listened to our show, but for those who don't, as last week's episode also, DJ, is out there getting out the vote, so he is kind of busy. There's that whole election thing coming up on the 3rd.
Oh,
you may have heard. I don't know. I'm assuming. So Lucy Lopez from Power 96 down here in Miami was beautiful and wonderful enough to agree to co-host with me this week. So thank you for that, Lucy. I really, really appreciate it. I know, like you just mentioned, you're ridiculously busy getting out the vote yourself and getting people informed and all of that. But also, since we're talking about voting, I just want to put it out there, guys. Go to MiamiNewTimes.com. Vote for Miss Lucy Lopez as best radio. What is it? Best radio personality in Miami, and also vote for Power 96 as best radio. Because I will say this, and I know you can't say it, Lucy, so I'm going to. I'm actually a little offended that it is a Best in Miami thing, and they've included under Best Radio Personality Elvis Duran, who maybe comes down here, twice a year at most?
Right.
Yeah, hi, that's cute. You're not from Miami. Don't even try that, sir. Sorry. I love New York. Stay there. You Best of New York, knock yourself out.
Damn.
But no, Miami girl needs the love, so get out there and vote. Also, there's a thing there to suggest a category that's not there. Best podcast isn't there. I'm not saying.
I'm really surprised because I have the huge on my podcast list. What I thought was huge for me is not usual for everybody else, and I'm like, but why?
Yeah, right.
It's so weird. I'm like, what do you guys don't listen? These guys are hysterical. There's so many local podcasts that I'm completely like. I look forward to their episodes. There's yours, there's Pan Con Podcast, there's Que Vola Podcast, which,
there's
my God, I've been on.
I love Darwin.
It's great.
We love Darwin.
Come on. That guy is amazing. And I told him on his podcast once, I go, bro, I'm so mad that I didn't come up with Que Vola Podcast.
That's what we said too.
That's what so pissed. And then I'm like, there's also one called Pan Con Podcast.
Yes.
I hate you too. It's because I was like, those are such clever names, but it just shows the talent pool in Miami here is there. You just have to look for it.
Yeah, it's just weird that, to me, and I promise we'll stop patting ourselves on the back, listeners, but just give us like 2 more minutes of this.
2 more minutes, bro.
That's all we ask, kinda. But it's weird because the Miami New Times tends to have its finger on like the pulse of like the new stuff and what's going on, and the fact that they don't even have a podcast category is just weird to me. I just thought that was interesting.
I think they're busy. I think they're busy with elections.
Oh,
I think that their main goal is to unearth la basura of Miami at all times. And I really do, like, I picture like the Miami New Times, like a building, you walk in there, and first they have a statue of Billy Corben, and then right next to it, there's another statue of Carla Croqueta. But anyways, and then you go down.
What is their statue budget? I mean, that's a lot of statues.
You can buy a statue in East Hialeah for like easily $10. So, and then you go down a flight of stairs, and there's an entire department of 100 college kids dedicated to bringing down the man in Miami. And I don't know, you gotta give it up to them.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, we love the Miami New Times. It's, you know, they're doing God's work, as they say. You know, it's they're really doing what people are not. But you mentioned Billy Corben a couple of times, and I wanted to bring something up because you know, Billy Corben is an interesting, we've had him on the show, interesting person. Like you said,
he's wild.
You can go from 1 minute of just like, yeah, we're on the same page, to like, bro, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, you know, like he elicits emotions, which is a good thing, right? But I know that you recently saw his latest documentary. I think it's on HBO. Is it on HBO Max?
Oh my God.
537 votes.
Yes, 537 votes.
And the only reason I wanted to bring it up, obviously, because we're in election time. I also wanted to bring it up because when I initially reached out to you, you said you'd call me back because you were watching it, and then you forgot to call me back. So I'm just calling you out right there. You got so engrossed in the documentary. You got so engrossed in this documentary that you forgot to call me back, and I now want to know. We need to share with our listeners what is so engrossing about it that you forgot to call me.
I didn't just watch it once. I watched it twice.
Okay.
And then you know, I reached out to Billy and I congratulated him on a job well done. I'm obsessed with like things that maybe other people aren't obsessed with when I watch a documentary like that. And I mean, the obvious,
just to bring it back, sorry, not to interrupt you, but so this is a documentary about the 2000 election?
2000.
The 2000.
Yeah, the recount.
The hanging chads and all that. Okay. And how Florida was basically the deciding factor in all of that, right?
It is literally like the biggest super pena of life watching that movie. I wanted to die while I was watching. I'm like, oh my God, que vergüenza. And it's not because, you know, whether you're Republican, Democrat, I don't give a shit.
It's not about party, right?
It's not even about, it's about the cluster F that Miami will probably continue to be after elections next week. And it's just like, how are we surviving?
Sheer force of will, babe. Sheer force of will.
How are we surviving? And Billy Corben and Alfred Spellman and all these, you know, these people involved with this movie are just wizards of storytelling. And I'm obsessed with, like, when I watch a movie, I look at stuff that maybe other people don't look at. Right. I don't know. I'm immediately when I heard
well, but that's also because you have a background in the industry, shall we say, right? So from a production angle, you're also looking at the details that you're like, how the hell did they get that information? Because you know firsthand how hard it is to get a hold of anybody, right? Much less.
It's so tough. It's so tough. It's so hard to do what they did, and they just truly pulled it off masterfully. As soon as I heard Neil Rogers say Mayor Pinga Pequeña in reference to Alex Penelas, I was like, how in the world did they get it? And then I know who they had to ask it for, and I know how that goes down. Right. And I was just like, and it was just so perfectly placed. It was, I mean, it's beautifully edited. It's funny. It's embarrassing. It gets you mad. It makes you happy. It gets you mad again. It's literally what I think it would be to be in a relationship with Billy Corben.
Oh.
And I'm watching this, and I couldn't believe that we survived that. I truly cannot believe we survived that mission.
Again, sheer force of will. I don't think we know how not to survive things, right? Being Miami.
Yeah. I mean, listen, we survived Category 5 hurricanes and figure out a way to throw a pre-hurricane party and then an after-hurricane party. And for those who know, there's a secret in the lobby hurricane party that only you and Pharrell Williams are invited to. I mean, we're that city. And we're like, so proud of it.
And then afterwards,
but in the trunk of our car, there's an entire survival supply kit. Okay, that's who the fuck we are as a city. Y
después afterwards tenemos la cara to be like, we have to do a fundraiser because things are really bad. Estamos mal.
You guys, Little Havana ran out of water. Like literally, everybody gather your bottles and bring it to Little Havana. We need to give the old people water. And you guys, everybody shows up with those bottled waters, and that is my favorite thing about my city. No matter how cluster F we are and how insane it is, for some reason, it makes sense at the end.
Yeah. No, it's like you were saying, like, I don't know how we survive. It's, you know what? Más tarde, más temprano, we figure it out, right? And we just kind of keep chugging along and, okay, no hay de otra. So I just wanted to touch base on that documentary. So it's called 537 Votes because ultimately Miami was like Miami, not Florida. I know that this all happened because of Florida, but ultimately Miami, it came down to 537 votes that were uncovered or in question.
In the documentary, right? Because they don't have to paint anybody bad. Right. It happened right before your eyes.
Yeah, in real time. This was like the first time in the current atmosphere, yeah.
You guys, I wish you would see my face. You guys, there's a moment in the movie where because you're reminded because you lived through it, but you remember that the woman in charge of counting the votes was BFF con la familia de Bushes.
That's right. Oh my God. I can't remember. I'm seeing her right now in front of my face. I can't remember her name.
Black hair and the long nails and the white suit with the most perfect shoulder pads I've ever seen on a jacket. That bitch was fierce.
Oh God. I know we're doing this over virtual, but like I'm kind of glad you're not here porque ya te hubiera escupido agua from all the times you made me laugh. Like I'm not gonna lie. I can't. It
was so good. It was so good. And watching the documentary, you really get a sense of like, man, this can fucking happen again.
Yeah.
Like all of that can repeat itself. And when you hear these people all of a sudden say in the news or whatever you subscribe to say to you, it's down to Miami-Dade County. Caballero, we are literally running the ship. Había un punto in the year 2000 that the most like an influential politician in the world was not the fucking president. It was our governor and then Alex Pinellas.
And then the lady counting the votes. Like, it was just like, yeah.
And then people are like, oh my God. And then they go into the whole Ilian thing. And you're so torn because at that time,
right.
Think back, how old were you? You were like, oh my God, my grandmother's going to die. Oh my God, this is the worst. I'm going to go over and hold up La Virgen de la Caridad and light a candle and fuck these guys and holy cow. And this is, by the way, during that time, my father was in the process of retiring from what people like to call La Migra out in Chrome. And my dad was like, they wanted him to go be one of the people to remove Elian. And my dad goes, no, I don't feel like getting shot today. I will stay in this office.
So your dad was like Danny Glover in Lethal Weapon. It's just like, I'm getting too old for this. I got like 5 days to retirement. Like,
I'm not going to go over there and fajame con Alfredo Gutierrez. Like, So you're watching the whole Ilian part, and I remember just looking at it and remembering those thoughts of like, oh my God, que pila de bonita, and y vaga, y guay, cocote. And then all of a sudden, I'm watching it
Fast
as
forward.
a mom of two, you know, con los cantos altos que tengo encima. And I'm like, bro, if my kid were in another fucking country, I would lose my mind.
Yeah.
And when you start thinking, and that's when you realize, oh, there's a reason why I'm not in politics.
Yeah, that's why. I mean, like I've said this before, and and I give all the credit in the world to Darian, to DJ. Like, I like to learn about policy. I like to learn about the issues. Yes. I hate politics. You know what I mean? Because, well, no, but there are people who love that. It's like I call it. It's like the theater of the political, right? Like it's that political theater of like, oh, because this and that and da da da, and it's like, oye, caballero, pónganse los espejuelos and see things clearly. Que at the end of the day, toda esta gente se fajan, uno del otro a la muerte, y después después de 3 días, they're all together at the same banquet and shaking hands and kissing babies together. Like, it's.
Caballero,
I mean,
yo tengo familia que you would think that they are invited to Christmas dinner at Mar-a-Lago or invited to a Hawaii getaway with the Bidens. It's
right.
Like, but you guys, this is about like pay attention to those amendments on that ballot.
Right. Yeah.
Pay attention to who you're gonna put as a judge.
Yeah.
Pay attention who's gonna be the next sheriff of Broward County.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
All this, your representatives, your senators, that is who ultimately makes all of the decisions that affect you most directly and quickly.
You will understand that Hialeah, Hialeah,
girl, if anybody's qualified to talk about Hialeah, it's you. Like, dale.
No, caballero, it's the #2 most influential city when it comes to voting. We have more people living in Hialeah. You have Miami-Dade County, and we're bigger than everybody that lives there. We are Miami-Dade County.
Is that because of all the efficiencies?
Of course it is. Oh my God, I remember one day that was like, I remember my girlfriend and I were talking, we're going to move out. And I go, where are you moving to? There's this really cute efficiency in Miami Lakes. And I go, bro, you're not moving. You're driving up the street. Moving. You're on the other side of 68th Street. You haven't moved. Give me a break.
Te va a costar más la mudada que quedarte donde está.
Oh my God, 3 sons won't even pick up your stuff.
Oh God. So I want to shift topics for a minute, because kind of keeping similar but different. So do you know who Kendall Verdes is? I'm totally mispronouncing her last name, I'm sure. Kendall Verdes or I don't.
I'm sorry, it's pronounced Kendall Jenner.
Wishful thinking. I was trying to change her name. Sorry.
¿Cómo se llama? Hold on, I Googled this girl. Hold on,
Vertes. Now she was on Dance Moms. She was one of the girls who was a dancer. She's 17 now. She's
Kendall Verdes. Got it.
She's an actor. Actually, we interviewed her for our show because she was at a comic book convention, promoting her upcoming thing. So she's a friend of the podcast, shall we say, right? She recently posted something on her Instagram. Like she did one of those little videos. She's 17 years old. That's what they do now. They do the TikToks and the reels and all that, right? And
no, I guess absolutely, yeah. I know.
Y parece que either in the background or something to that effect, she had some Trump paraphernalia. She had it said like Trump 2020 or MAGA or what have you. She was not talking about politics. She was not talking about anything. She was, it just so happened to be like in the background. And again, she's 17. She can't even vote. So she can have all the opinions that she wants in the world.
Right.
But apparently she has gotten a lot of backlash because, it's one of those, how could you and how dare you and this, that, and the other. And again, she was not even putting her, like she didn't even talk about that. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to bring up, your thoughts on that. Number one, because I wanted to bring it up. But number two, because I know that you personally, having been in this business for eons now, have probably been singled out by lo que falta es el perro de la casa at this point, right? Like, for your opinions and like, oh, she's so annoying, and how can why are you talking about that? You're stupid. You don't know anything. Like, whatever. You're blah blah blah. Right. Like, so I kind of wanted to hear
I'm not allowed to talk about things.
Yeah, exactly. How dare you have an opinion? You're on the radio. Right. So I just wanted to like kind of pick your brain about your feelings on that from a personal perspective. As somebody who's been picked apart in the public eye. I mean, you've been on the radio now for how many years? Is it?
I've been on the radio for 20 crayons. Purple years. I
for long enough.
That long enough. So here's the thing. I feel bad for this little girl because she's a young lady. She's coming into her own. She's figuring out not just herself, but what she stands for, what she doesn't. Because how I felt about things when I was, how old is she?
17.
17 to how I feel about things. Yeah, to what I feel about it completely changes.
Yeah, like we were just talking about the Aliang thing.
Yes, everything changes. Right. But when you're in the public eye and you're going through puberty, because I think you go through puberty until you're 25.
Oh wow. I still might be going through it.
You're in front of the camera, exactly. And you're in front of the camera and you're giving your opinions. People are gonna come for you. They're going to come for you. And having thick skin is major. I've done a lot of muting, unfollowing, because it hurts. Some people's opinions on things really affect me and hurt me. I'm a creative, so
you're a little sensitive.
Outside, I'm super sensitive. I'm sensitive. I feel shit. When the world is sad, I feel that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're empathetic.
Yes, yeah, I am. I'm very proud of it too, because a lot of people can't admit to it and don't have it.
They don't get it.
They don't get it. So I think when you're in front of the spotlight, when you're entertaining to the masses or a group of people, it's you have to remind yourself constantly that that's their opinion, and chances are by the end of the week they're going to forget about you. Or by the end of the day, or within 20 minutes, they're gonna forget about you. There's a really funny thing that it's kind of like an unspoken thing in radio, where if you fuck up on the radio and you hit the post and you go into the song, and you messed up something, nobody noticed. But these kids who are in front of the camera and in front of the TikToks and the things and whatever else comes up by the end of the day, their mistakes are forever repeated. And my hope is that they learn for themselves, and don't allow other people to influence their journeys. You know what I mean? That can be really tricky, because even me, I became what I am today in my early 20s. I was 21.
Right. That's young. I mean, that's young to be.
Yeah, that's very young.
And we're talking 21, back when radio was radio. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where
and it was terrifying. I would have people call me and tell me absolutely disgusting things. I would have women would call me and be like, "Who the fuck do you think you are, bro? Nobody is listening to you. Nobody can stand your accent." I'm like, "But you sound just like me."
Self-hating much?
And there's a lot of that, and in regards to her having her stuff of Trump in the back, that's her fucking life. Who gives a shit? I really, who are you inside? What's happening in your heart? What have you done for your community today? Right. Did you do anything to move the empathy needle?
Right.
Have you? Because if you haven't, then everything that you're doing is out of vain, and it's just another Instagram post.
Hey everybody, Halloween is right around the corner, and you don't want to meterle miel al susto with your scary bush, right? Know who can help? That's right, our friends at Manscaped. Mira, just because the monsters are out doesn't mean your down there parts need to look like the Wolfman during a full moon. From the perfect package with the waterproof Lawnmower 3.0 trimmer that reduces nicks on your pumpkins, to the crop care kit that includes the Crop Preserver ball deodorant, because let's face it, the sting from down there is the spookiest thing year round. And as always, use promo code PERO20, PERO20, at manscaped.com and get 20% off your order and free shipping. 20% off to keep your balls trimmed and fresh? Hell yes. So visit manscaped.com today and use promo code PERO20 for 20% off any purchase. People just want to hear themselves. I was actually having this conversation yesterday with DJ because I don't know if you saw it on Instagram. Because I don't know if you follow us, like our personal accounts. He posted. No, I didn't mean that to sound shady. I'm just saying I genuinely don't know if you do.
No, I follow you.
Oh, thank you.
No, and DJ too, but mainly you.
Okay, it's because I do a lot more shirtless posts.
Yes,
that's why.
I didn't know you wanted me to say that, so I held back.
I know why you're there, baby. I know what keeps my milkshake brings everybody to the yard. Pero he posted this week a picture of himself holding a Biden-Harris sign and a picture with his cousin holding a Trump-Pence sign. And, they were standing together, and he basically said, proof that despite differences, family can get along, or something to that effect, right?
Yes.
Right? Well, he's been exhausted all these days. He literally, he posted it. He hasn't had time to really be on social. He went to sleep, woke up the next morning at 4 a.m. because his day recently has been starting at 5. And he said he had 30 DMs, right? And he's like, the fuck did, he's like, still half asleep and whatever. It was basically a bunch of people calling him out as being fake and that what he was doing was a farce, because how could he how could he associate with somebody who supports, Trump and Biden if he is supporting Biden and Harris, and that
Sure.
and that he was a horrible person, and that I think somebody even told him he should just go jump off a building, and all that and what have you. And when I saw it, I got very pissed off for several reasons. Number one, because you don't come from my family that way. Because I will cut a bitch. But it also made me very upset that as much as, because again, it was mostly Biden supporters who were reaching out and condemning him for this, right? You get all these people trying to say we have to come together as a country and we have to come together, and the minute that you post something that is at its base about coming together, right? And again, it's family, right? It's a cousin. It's not like we're talking about, some stranger that he met and talked to for 10 minutes,
Sure.
Who he doesn't know who they are in their heart. All of a sudden it's I want unity. No, but not that kind of unity. I want unity how I want you to do it. I don't want you to do it how you want to do it, because that's the wrong unity. It's fuck you. You're as big a hypocrite as anybody else. And
so here's the thing, and I have to say this. What happens to those people is that DJ forced them to look within.
Mm-hmm.
When you force someone to look within,
mm-hmm.
and look at their truth, that's a scary fucking move.
Yeah.
That's fucking scary. When you gotta look inside and be nah, fuck you, because he challenged them on their own ideals.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you challenge somebody on their own ideals and challenge who they are, those might be the results.
Right.
I have so many friends who are voting for Trump, and I have so many friends who are voting for Biden, and I love them equally because we have history.
Right.
And I know that during this election, a lot of people had to draw the line in the sand,
mm-hmm.
right? But to what cost?
Mm-hmm.
When you draw that line in that sand, man, that's forever, dude.
Yeah, no,
That's forever.
a lot of these people, because he would come back to him again. These were DMs. He went back saying like, well, this is how could you? They would say like, how could you be friends with somebody? He's like, well, this is my cousin. You know what I mean? I didn't have a quote unquote choices in the matter, right? Like it's family, right? And a lot of them were like, well, you need to cut that person out of your life. You need to get rid of that toxicity and build your own family and blah blah blah. And I'm like, okay. And I literally asked him, and I'm gonna sound like a total bigot right now, but I was like, how many of those people who said that were white? And he's like, about 90%. And I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. Because I'm speaking in generalities now. But ponte a pensar, Lucy, like, la familia, quote unquote, americana, right? At 18, it's like, okay, thank you for playing. We'll see you at Christmas. Yeah. And, I'm painting with broad strokes here, right? But like compared to your typical Latino family, which is just like ride or die. Unless we're talking about unless some serious shit went down. I mean, I'm talking like, abuse or things like that. That's a whole different situation. Pero por lo general, it's like we're going to have our differences and we're going to fight, but you're still my brother, my sister, my father, my cousin, my aunt, my uncle. Right. Tu sabes, it's just part of culture for us, I think.
I just think that, marketing and Instagram and social media is truly sadly defining us as a society, and
at least
when
outwardly.
I hear stories, when I hear stories like this, like you're telling me what happened to DJ, like I can help to put myself in his shoes. I can help to think like, man, that must have been a tough morning. I've woken up to horrible DMs, after prayer and talking to God, and then I get on my phone and I start my day at 4:30 and I'm looking at, and it's the one without the followers. It's the one that has a Jesus quote on their Bible, on their bio. Yeah. And then I have friends who completely think polar opposite of me. Mm-hmm. And it's not that it hurts me. It's just, I'm just like, well, that's who you are, dude.
Right.
But I remember when you were there for me when my grandmother died. I remember you were the first person to reach out to me when my brother passed away. And you got to remind yourself of those moments. And I try actively to do that, especially with family who go the fuck off on Facebook. And I'm like, holy shit, somebody go take my tia's phone and dead. Because it's just like, where you're like literally reposting something that was the worst Photoshop ever.
Right.
I'm pretty sure there's a website called www.worstphotoshop.ever pictures of political figures for your family members who are over the age of 50.com.
And if there isn't, we need to squat on that right now. Like you and I.
And I'm 100% positive that's where all the tias get their fucking information. But I gotta remember that my tia will always be there for me.
Right.
That my tia, will always be the one that knows exactly what part of the turkey I like on Thanksgiving. She knows all my secrets.
Right.
And I can't no me sale to hate her. Right. But there are people who legit have cut family out. Like,
yeah.
Middle finger in the sky, see you later. No matter what your race is.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure.
Yeah. So, and that makes me sad when you tell me that about DJ. I didn't even know that.
Yeah. Well, that's because, sad, bro. It's funny because he was telling me about it and I was like.
Bro, that's mean.
Eh?
That's very mean.
It's mean. It's because when he told me about it, I'm like, oh, I'm totally talking about this with Lucy. Because if anybody can relate to getting, hate for trying to promote something positive.
Today, I don't know when is this podcast going to air?
Tomorrow. We're recording. Yeah. Okay.
So today I did an interview.
Mm-hmm.
I did this interview with my friend Nikki at Radical Partners.
Oh, yes. That was at 10:30, right? This morning. It was,
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're neither Republican nor Democrat. They're just down the road, full of information, community driven, yada, yada. And I did this interview on Facebook Live for Power 96 with her, and the entire interview was information. And here's a great example. Hey, can we vote on the weekend? Until when is early voting? When does mail-in voting end? if I go in person, what do I need if I'm standing in that line? What should I have with me?
So like frequently asked questions type of thing.
Super questions that, you know what? Even the weekend thing, like I was telling her, I have this 16-year-old niece who yesterday was telling me, wait a minute. She goes, no, she's 20. Sorry, 20. She goes, you can go vote on the weekend? I thought that shit was only like Monday through Friday. I'm like, no. But I know that, right. But she didn't. And she's a really smart girl, but she just assumed people have this idea that voting is like this super elite thing, and it's not.
Right.
You know? And then we talked about amendments, and because she's incredibly well versed in law and all that. So I'm like, Nikki, what about amendment? I don't know what does it mean if you vote yes on this amendment, and what does it mean if you vote no? And
right.
As we're having this conversation, the comments section on Power 96's face was like, Trump 2020, Biden is the devil, vote Trump, Trump is the devil, Biden 2020. Like it was like, do you guys not see what we're not even talking about that.
It's not about that.
And it's wild. But again, the masses are asses, and people hear what they want to hear. I cannot tell you how many times I've said something on the radio and it's gotten back to me completely reversed. And because I'm fucking Petty LaBelle, I have sent them an aircheck, a random Miami person. I go, you could play this on your phone.
Here's the MP3.
Oh my God, reply. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I thought that you said this. I'm so sorry. I'm like, it's okay. Most people just hear what they want to hear.
Meanwhile, we've also now just established your drag name. So, Petty LaBelle, Carla Croqueta. Carla Croqueta, we're going to have to get on that. Get Lucy performing.
Carla Croqueta she's so talented. Holy cow.
I kind of want to hate Carla because of the level of talent, but then it's like, no, she's too talented. I have to love her.
No, and the fact that he goes out in drag with a beard is beyond me.
Beard es lo de menos. Y todo el pelo like the chest and the back hair, like don't care.
The makeup, the everything. I mean, super talented.
Fabulous is a mindset. That's all it is.
It really is, honey.
Fabulous is a mindset. We got to get Carla on the show, actually. So actually, speaking of Carla, I know that I'm gonna help you do a little plug here. Carla was recently on your YouTube show.
Yeah, I featured Carla and my friend Nancy, Gordita Feliz, and it was all about body image and how to carry yourself and how to like find your inner beauty and your swag. And these are people that I admire because they carry themselves with such confidence that I'm like, sometimes I get complejo, you know what I mean?
Hell yeah, says the guy who posts shirtless pics.
It's really hard. It's really, you're like, shit, man. Like, am I good? Am I looking gordita? Like, what's going on? And you have to look at your legs and then work with that and work with your ass and this and this.
But you know what? That's not to bring it back to my vanity, but that's actually why I started during this quarantine thing, like posting the shirtless pics, is because I was like, you know what? We're all stuck at home. We're all overeating. We're all, you know what? Screw it. This is how I'm spending my day, and this is what I look like. And you know what? Yes, there's a vanity to it and what have you, but it's like, you know what? Own it. I know that I do not have Zac Efron's body. You know, I know that I know what I look like. I have a mirror. I have several mirrors. Trust me, I'm vain. I have several mirrors. You have to own it. You have to just own it.
Yeah. And that was my conversation with them. It was, they're in an episode on my YouTube channel,
which is
youtube.com/The Lucy Lopez.
There you go.
And the name of my show is The Lucy Lopez Show. And I'm just taking advantage of my time, and I've always wanted to kind of have a reverent talk show. And, radio is where most of my creative juice goes to, but I'm insatiable when it comes to creativity. I want more, and I want to do it, and I don't want to stop, and I always want to improve my product and my brand. And I think that I have something going on YouTube right now that I'm really proud of, and I don't want to stop. I genuinely don't want to stop. I want to continue doing what I'm doing. And eventually, and as I'm doing that, I'm writing a script because I want to. I want to do a TV show for Netflix, and I have all these. Yeah, I want to, and it's not like perfect, and it's here. I wish I could show you right now.
What's the old saying? Perfection is the enemy of creation. You know, if you're gonna wait until something is 100% perfect, you know, nothing is ever gonna be 100% perfect. So you gotta
this is like me constantly writing ideas.
Wow.
Like it doesn't stop. I don't stop writing.
Damn, girl.
And because I know eventually it's all gonna make sense. I'm gonna be able to do something with it and meet with people who understand me and understand how my mind works, and yeah, I don't want to stop. And my YouTube channel and my episodes, you know, it's different. I'm really putting myself out there. I thought my last episode was very personal, and from my conversations with listeners and friends on the gram and on Twitter, I think it was necessary for me to do it because I don't want to be fake.
What was the last episode about? What was the topic?
So the topic was like finding your courage and like giving yourself like some slack, like permission to lose your shit.
I think we've all needed that permission during this COVID crazy.
I think a lot of people have been holding back, and I think that's why a lot of people are angry lately. I think people are holding back. I think people are, you know, with all reason, scared. Mm-hmm. And I spent the last month and a half creating through fear, and that was very eye-opening for me, and it was a very scary time for me. And I've always shared this openly with my audience. You know, I'm someone who works with my depression every single day. It's something that I acknowledge and I get help for. And, you know, I ended up like doubling up on therapy. I ended up taking a week off of air, which I usually, I'm very type A when it comes to taking off work. I'm that Cuban horse. I'm like, okay, we're taking a week off in July, and then we don't take any time off until the end of December.
Right.
And I found myself in October just, you know, it was bad. It was really bad. And I think there's, you know, I'm very fortunate because first of all, I have a job, I have my health, my family's okay. But it took me a minute to kind of be like, okay, but this is my problem. This is what I'm going through. That doesn't make me less of a person, and it doesn't mean it's not important, you know? And it was tough to come to that realization because you have that Cuban guilt in you where you're like, a trabajar, a pinchar,
sí.
Dale.
Yeah.
Dale, empuja, pa. And it's like, no, caballero, I had to stop. And I had no help.
Not to mention the stigma that we still have within our community for mental health. You know, like, no, eso se te quita. You know, sigue trabajando. Eso te quita. You know what I mean? Like, you need to focus on something else, or, you know, or you're being in. No, or worse, or you're being indulgent, right? Because ¿cómo tú te vas a poner a pensar eso teniendo dos hijas? ¿Cómo tú te, you know what I mean? It's just like, but I can't help other people if I don't help myself.
Right, and that's the really hard part of finding your courage. Mm-hmm. Because in order to be courageous, you have to be vulnerable. Yeah. And part of my courage is going on air every morning, finding entertainment, trying to crack jokes, delivering to you all the news that you already get on your phone in a different, irreverent, unique way that will make you go, oh shit, she's right, or just make you think of something or make you laugh. And then, you know, there's real life shit happening. People are losing their jobs. Power 96 is down to 5 employees.
That
you know?
Is insane.
So, yeah. So, there's a lot of responsibilities we're all taking on individually.
Right. Yeah.
And, you know, it went from, you know, this magnificent digital department to guess who's doing all the work? Guess who's got 2 thumbs? thumbs.
Guess it's
Does all the work.
got 2 thumbs and the passwords to all the social. This lady.
Right. Yeah, and it's me and my director Miho and Zog and Evie, and we're constant communication and we're constantly working and then on top of that, you know, I have my daughters like you mentioned.
Yeah.
And you know, a lot of people don't know this. I lost my uncle this year. And you know, getting that kind of news like at 4 a.m. and having to go tell my mom before somebody called her. You know how the Cuban family is. And I'm like,
I don't want to laugh at your uncle's death, but you're making it very hard.
Please. And I'm like, okay. And then like I get there, and then you know that's fucking hard. And people had to go through that, and then I had to tell my mom, you can't go. Right. And there's only 8 people allowed in the funeral. Right. And you know, half of my family lives in New York, which a lot of people don't know. There's only 2 families here, and the rest of the families are over there. Right. And then you know, my mom is up in age, there's so much going on and all this. And then my husband's like, so you're really gonna do a fucking YouTube channel? And I go, yes, I am. He was like, but you have no time. And if you watch at episode 1, I'm wearing his shirt, and the first thing out of my mouth was like, oh, because I have so much time to do this. I don't. Yeah. But I find time because it brings me happiness, and I know it may help someone or might put a smile on their face. Yeah. So this last episode really, really made me happy. I mean, I got enough, you know, I didn't get fucking 200,000 views, but then again, my followers are not bought, so
there's that. Yes. You know what? That I agree with you 1,000%. It's like I take solace in our organic growth these past 3 years.
I find requests. I'm like, nah, we're good. No.
Thanks for playing.
I'm fine with the 2,000-3,000 views I got on that video. It's all good because my followers are not paid in cash.
Yeah, no.
So yeah, I mean, it's been crazy, and the YouTube channel has helped me, you know, work through those feelings and kind of have a different outlet for stuff that I have on my mind that I really don't have time to say over the first 30 seconds of a new Rihanna song.
Right. I mean, you know, Rihanna does run a tight ship. That's true. She does not allow for any of that dilly-dally or lollygagging or any other, you know, mid-century phrase that I, for some reason, decided to use in the middle of our chat. Lollygagging, dilly-dally. It's like, I'm like Moira Rose over here. So fucking awesome.
David.
That was pretty good.
Alexis.
That was great.
No, cállate, Alexa.
Oh, empezó la otra por ahí. Ay, pero, bueno, Lucy, we have had a lot of chatting, but I know that, like you just said, I know you got a lot of shit going on, so we're gonna start winding down.
Okay,
you know, as we know, every episode we end with our last soda. So as the guest, I'm gonna let you go first. You know, who are you giving a last soda of the desert to this week?
So the last soda of the desert is for just explain to you one more time.
All right.
I just want to make sure I have it.
All right. So the last soda, it can either be, so we like to give it to people who have done something great, you know, something positive. Or if you want to give it to somebody who's just being a total asshole, then we give them a gasless soda. So, you know,
oh my God, I have my cousin Natalie loves flat soda.
Oh.
To this crazy biatch before we get into the segment. Natalie, we would have family parties, and this little she would go into the fridge, open la botella de Coca-Cola, leave it in the fridge, and wouldn't tell anybody. And we would go, y la Coca-Cola was flat, and she was like, ha ha, and would drink it. She loves flat soda. It's so weird.
Oh, gross.
Yes. Yeah.
So then I guess, you know, in Natalie's case, receiving a flat soda would be a wonderful thing. It would not be...
Yes.
She would have no problem with it.
For sure. She would love it. She was like, I did, thank you.
That's my favorite kind.
Oh my God, I'm going to tell everyone.
So yes, so
Okay.
so now that you've got the refresher, and our listeners have gotten the refresher too, in case they've forgotten, where this all craziness started from. You're on.
Oh, man. Okay. This is tough because I have several people in mind to give this soda to,
Okay.
but I can only choose one.
Yes, it's like Highlander.
I know. I'm going to give mine to the voter.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, there you go.
I'm going to give mine to the voter. I'm going to give it to the person who took time to figure out what all these amendments mean, the person who took time to learn both the good and the bad of both candidates running for the prestigious office of the President of the United States of America. To the person who knows that living in this country is the best thing despite what we're seeing right now.
Yeah.
It's actually the best country to live in. So I give my Coca-Cola to the voter.
Oh, well, that's a great one. See, now I feel like mine's a little chintzy now after that one. Like that's so like moving and inspiring. Like 'cause my last soda is I'm actually going a little bit more Halloween theme because how Halloween is this weekend. And so I'm actually going to give my last soda to a horror film director who's no longer with us, George Romero. For those
He passed away?
He passed away, I think it was last year. Within the last 2 years or so.
But why?
Well, old age.
Okay.
But, I mean, it happens, occasionally. We can't all be Betty White. So, for those who don't know, George Romero, actually his background is his father was from Spain, but his father then also lived in Cuba for a while. And then so so his background is kind of Hispanic, Latino as well, George Romero. And he is the creator of the Night of the Living Dead movie, which is considered by many to be the first modern horror movie. So all of modern zombie movie. So all of the zombie tropes that we know and we take for granted now really started with that movie, with Night of the Living Dead. But I'm also giving it to him because that movie came out in 1960. I want to say 1967. I could be wrong.
So Night of the Living Dead came out in 1968.
68. Okay, I was off by a year. Not bad. And ostensibly the lead of that movie is a black man at a time when we're talking the 60s in the US. It was, I mean,
oh my god, wait, don't mean to interrupt.
No.
But 40 years from now somebody is gonna say it was back in 2020,
right? Oh god, that's true.
Oh no, honey,
just made me feel old.
We're living in that.
We're living in that.
The same way people feel about that time, they're gonna feel about fucking 2020.
That's true. That's true. And me and my little clip of a question to Joe Biden will probably be some footnote in some in some class somewhere.
My God, how did you survive your conspiracy theory attacks?
You know what? I survived it by laying low, but also by reaching out to people like you, and people like you reaching out to me and saying this too shall pass. Don't worry about it, and so that meant a lot to me. So thank you.
That's not what I said.
Well, I'm not. Well, I don't remember verbatim, and I'm just saying that's the type of girl got receipts. Girl got receipts.
Please let me read the text that I sent you.
I have. As we deviate from the last soda, so George Romero's my last soda for that reason, but we're gonna get into this now.
I wrote, I love your Joe Biden question, and I love your Miami accent. Our accent is pure candy. Don't let anyone take your joy. You're a good dude, and your heart sings to many. Don't stop creating. Love me.
And that is why, one of many, 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 many reasons that, much like Desi Arnaz, we love Lucy.
Aww.
So Lucy, thank you so much for stopping by. It's again, we've said this many times that one of the best parts about doing this show, this podcast, we started, it's going on 3 years now. We're in the midst of season 3. We didn't think anything of it. We literally thought it'd be maybe us listening to it and our friends, and eventually our friends would stop because they would get tired of hearing our voices. But the best part is meeting people like you, and we consider you a friend, and it's been fantastic. And thank you so much for all of your support and and your love, and for stopping by this week to help me co-host this episode.
forever. I will forever support you guys. You guys are an amazing group of kids. And I will say this, one day Billy Corben is going to write a documentary starring us. One day.
Putting it out there in the universe, that's the only way to get things done.
Come at me, Billy.
I love it. Bueno.
Ay.
She almost fell off the chair. She got so excited about Billy Corben, she almost fell off her chair. But bueno, guys, that was episode 133. Hope you listened, laughed, and learned. And as always, don't forget your croqueta, your pastelito, and your cafecito. And more importantly, guys, vote. Get out there and vote.
Please.
November 3rd is the last day to vote. Get out there. If you do it early, do it on the 3rd, call in sick. I don't care. You've got to get out there and make your voice heard because, quite frankly, our people, our families came to this country because our voices were not being heard. And you need to honor that sacrifice that they made starting over by ensuring that your voice is. So,
absolutely.
That's all we got, guys. See you next week. And again, thank you so much, Lucy.
You're welcome. Can we take a song?
Pero Let Me Tell You is co-hosted by Darian Borges and Ismaeliano, produced by Ismaeliano, and our theme, Pero Let Me Tell You Freestyle, is composed by Michael Angelo Lomlaplex, the official gay guy. And don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review on iTunes.